All right.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Only Nerds. How's everybody doing this evening? We are, of course, here to talk about one of our favorite things in the world.
You're in store for a wild ride, an epic story, female empowerment.
I hope you enjoy the film. Thank you for being.
Of course, we're going to talk about the Marvels, and then if we got time, we're going to get into the state of Marvel and see how they're doing right now. We're going to start with the guest of honor. Rivers, how's it been, man? It's been a while since you've been on here.
Hey, guys, thanks for having me. Yeah, it has been a while. Yeah, I had the pleasure of watching the Marvels on Friday, and I'll tell you what, there was quite a few people laughing through the film. I was surprised. I laughed. To be fair, I laughed once. I thought there was a Miss Marvel line I thought was quite funny, but fuck me, there was a dad and his daughter sat like one chair away from me, and he was fucking roaring with laughter. I was like, mate, have you got your balls in a fucking purse or something? What is going on here? Fucking roaring he was. Every time a cat threw up or fucking swallowed something.
That's.
Oh yeah. Other than that, yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Trying to keep up with real life and get videos done at the same time. It's tough.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, right.
Brad, how you been, sir? Mr. Partner?
I had a very busy week. I prepared myself for the Marvels by seeing one of my favorite movies of all time in the Stratus Center, which is our in Tampa. It's like the big theater, not movie theater, just like where you go see plays and that sort of thing. Wrath of Khan on the
okay. Nice.
Followed by an hour of a very energetic 92-year-old Bill Shatner.
All right.
So, and of course, I did get my picture with him because I'm finally going to do that 30 years later. And then I had that. I figured, okay, now I'm good, right? No. I saw the Marvels, and that took it all away. So
my life was complete from that.
Yeah. It's like if it's like the highest of the high and the lowest of the low. And then Friday and Saturday, I had a partner meeting, and I just got over my hangover this morning. So at some point, I'll actually do a review.
Joker, how you been, sir? I know you're super busy all the time.
I am that. I'm in a different location here. For those of you who did not know, last week there was a house fire in my house. That was fun. So just while some repairs are being done to other rooms, I just shifted from one room to the other room across the hall. So and then I saw the Marvels. I'm glad I only paid $5 to see it, so that was a good thing. And we'll get into it. Is it the worst Marvel film I've ever seen? No. Is it going to get blamed as the worst Marvel film? Yes.
Yeah. I think when I watched this movie, and you get to one specific scene, I was very much.
What the fuck was that?
Just one.
Especially the flirking scene.
That's what did it for me.
Yeah, the flirking scene.
That was an out-of-body experience.
I walked. I didn't walk out of the movie theater. I got out of my chair, and I had to sit there and think, who the fuck was this movie made for? Because it's too adult to be for children, and it's too childish to be for adults.
It didn't have a consistent theme.
No, it did not. It went from
it did not have it.
serious
It did
to
not have
wonky.
It's
and I think part of the reason is ignore Monica. Monica's just there. It's really a Carol Kamala movie, and those two types are completely different types of shows.
This film, its theme was girls get it done. That's what it was.
Well, and
it just seemed like it just seemed like a film with lots of information missing.
Yeah,
that's what I got from it. I was just like, well, why the fuck are they doing that? How are they doing that? You know, there was no
Okay.
backstory. There was nothing. We just had fucking Karen the
Well,
accuser running around. Being,
we
Well,
were
as-
presumed to have seen a bunch of stuff too.
I mean,
Well,
yeah.
there is that, and Drinker accurately called it that because of all the cuts that they had done, because they cut a good half hour out of
Mhm.
this film, that a lot of the message didn't make it into the film, which is fine, but this was still very much a MCU film.
Oh,
Mhm.
100%.
Yeah, it was.
Especially
I would
when
say
the especially when the mum dives over her husband to save him.
And the
Mhm.
look on her face.
Yeah, yeah,
How dare you? I protect my husband, not him.
yeah. Right.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really a weird movie because there are parts of it that are good.
Mhm.
I thought the part where, you know, Carol coming out and saying, you know, she pretty much caused the death of the Kree homeworld and was guilt to her, and that's why she wouldn't come back. Was very poignant in a way that you actually seen Captain Marvel as a person for once instead of a she bitch.
But then that's part of the information missing. Like, how does
Mm-hmm.
killing a higher command? How does that suddenly? How do you lose your oceans, lose your sun, lose
Because
your
they went into a
atmosphere?
state of war because they went into a civil war.
Yeah,
with
how
their
the
leader.
fuck do you take all that?
Nukes.
And hold on,
Don't
'cause
know.
I'm not
Don't
up
know.
to speed. Like, I've never been a comic book reader
And
because I've just never had the opportunity. But am I
and
right
then,
in thinking at this point in time the Skrulls are not on their home world, or at that point weren't on their home world? They were on a world that was sort of found for them because
Mhm.
their world was torn up. So how does a population of people who've been usurped from their original homeland, stuck on another homeland, fighting a Kree planet and still
Oh,
win?
I don't think the Skrulls were fighting. I think it was the Kree fighting among themselves.
Yeah,
Right.
and
Different
supposedly they
factions of
damaged
Kree.
their
Oh,
sun.
I
They
completely
damaged their
got that.
sun with
Yeah.
strip their atmosphere.
But of course,
And-
the Skrulls shouldn't even be there because I have it under very reliable information that there are a million Skrulls living on planet Earth, and we're hunting them
And-
down and killing them.
And let's also not forget that in 1995, when the original Captain Marvel film was set, that Carol left and she told Monica that she would be back. Well, then she says that she destroyed the Supreme Intelligence, so she couldn't come back. But she comes back to fight Thanos and is there for Tony Stark's funeral, but can't spend time to go see Monica.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
we find out what she did.
There's a lot of
Oh, Monica. No, I was thinking Maria. Sorry, Maria.
yeah,
That's what
but there's a lot of what did you say? Giant celestials sticking out of the planet that we don't
God.
talk about.
Still.
Yeah.
Right.
But no, I like that one part because she actually seemed like a person.
Right. And
There was
and-
themes of grief and shame.
and-
Like you don't see shame anymore.
Yeah.
and Bree was not the worst part of this film. She actually got to have a personality that was not smug bitch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking. I'm like, she was not as insufferable. There were times she was insufferable, but she was not as insufferable as she was in Captain Marvel. There was, and like, just one part, just so I don't shit over it entirely. There was a scene that I did like, and because it was light and not stupid, goofy, and it was when they were trying to figure out how to use their powers together.
That montage thing.
Yeah.
Montage thing. I just thought,
But that went way too long. But that was way
I agree.
too
It went too
Yeah, it
long.
went way too long. Yeah.
Well,
But-
the powers that were supposed to be entangled, but only entangled.
Well, I
them
still don't know
for a
how
minute,
it
so-
works. I don't think we know exactly how it works because I've seen them use
Neither do
powers
they.
and there's no switching going on. But I thought it was good that they actually addressed, hey, let's try to figure this out so that we aren't almost killing each other every damn time.
And shouldn't it have been, since Kamala was not using her powers when the entanglement happened? It was Darben
Mm-hmm.
opening a portal, and Monica and Carol touching the residue. So they should have been
Mhm.
entangled with Darben,
I was going
not
to say,
Kamala.
why is Darben
And-
not part of that entanglement?
So
Why
but,
is she not? flexing.
Because
Why?
My understanding
because-
was by watching the movie, one negaband opened the hole, one negaband closed the hole that you were used to create the jump stuff.
Mhm.
all the jump points.
So
right.
it took two of them to create the jump points. In other words, open and close. So evidently
Mhm.
she had the one that closed, and both of them touched the open hole, and it went with that band. It doesn't make sense. That's only I can make sense of it.
But
Now
here's
we're right, and
We're
now
writing
you're
better
writing.
fiction.
Well, now you're writing for the writer.
Yeah.
But you know who's missing in this? We're missing someone who also has Captain Marvel powers.
Quasar, Gaia, Quasar.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't seen Quasar in this yet, but
Yeah,
we have established.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, you have.
When did we see Quasar?
Guardians 3, the very end, the little girl. That's a Quasar.
I thought that was 5L. Is she the new Quasar?
hmm
Okay. I think of Quasar being Wendell Vaughn, like from the late 80s, early 90s, Quasar.
Well,
When he was on the Quantum Bands.
That would be nice, but this is the MCU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so actually, no, we should have two more women there. We should have Fayavel and Gaia. Because Gaia literally has Captain Marvel's powers.
Yep.
Can I ask a question, seeing as you guys all know about the comic books and the characters and stuff? Does or can Miss Marvel create those giant fists and stuff like that when she hasn't got a bangle on?
Yes, because
What?
her powers have been altered from the original comic book. From the original comic, she could
I only say that because right at the end when she puts a big hand out and she's got no bangle on, I was just like, is that a continuity error? What the fuck's that all about?
Well, at the end of
the show that they said that Bangle just awakened her power.
Correct.
She's a mutant
She's
now.
the first mutant in the MCU.
She's a mutant.
So what does the bangle do then when she's got it on?
Amplifies.
Just amplifies. Right.
And she gets both of them, but at the end of the movie, she only has one on.
And she's basically she's basically a lantern is what she is.
Yeah, they made her Green Lantern. Yeah.
Well, they've massively OP'd her now, and that she's got two bangles.
Oh God.
Yeah,
well, she doesn't have both of them now.
No, at the end of the movie, she only has one on.
Yeah.
Well, she had.
I did see that, but I thought, why they not?
Okay, but when they supercharged, Annika, she had them both.
Yeah.
And she didn't die because she was meant to have them.
Of course.
Probably because of her powers. Now, it was kind of fun to see Captain Marvel get the shit kicked out of her without somebody holding a power stone in their fist.
No.
Well, this is again that to me is a continuity error.
Because Carol is OP.
Yeah.
The Captain Marvel, even when spoiler alert, in the mid credit scene when you see the Maria's costume as binary, the binary powers came in 1982. So
with the Brood,
and where she absorbed a white star, and she basically vaporized the Brood home world. So she's been OP for quite some time.
Yeah.
But then she got brought back when she lost her binary powers. But the Captain Marvel we have in the movies is way OP. I mean, she is literally the Marvel equivalent of Superman, unless we brought in the Sentry.
Right.
We haven't brought in the Sentry yet, but
she's on a god mode.
Yeah.
And
she was fighting Thanos, for God's sakes, toe to toe, and all this. And all Mrs. Tom Hiddleston has is a big hammer.
Well,
yeah, but then Miss Tom Hiddleston's going around sort of beating the fuck out of him for a little part of it, and then she gets stabbed by a bit of metal. So it's like, what's going on here? Do all these villains, they can't take power? They can take power blasts and all that, but fucking stick a spoon in their side, and they're down on their ass. It's just like, what the fuck's going on here? You're not holding them to the high standard of power blasts when they can just get shanked fucking in the showers by some fucking little bell end. Basically, it's weird.
And Darben in the original comics, male.
Yep.
Yep. And very much Ronan's hammer with the Power Stone.
Well,
Yeah, what's that?
A
Okay.
low key Power Stone, but it was still more powerful than what we've seen out of Ronan's hammer.
Okay,
Yeah.
that hammer is used by the accusers, and as Carol said in the film, it's referred to as the universal weapon. So that's, and there is a run in some of the recent Captain Marvel comics where she becomes the new accuser. So she has her OP powers, and she has the universal weapon.
Yeah.
She's very she's not intimidating at all.
No.
Yeah.
There was no
the
menace
speech
to
she
her.
gives where she first opens the atmosphere, like I don't know if it's her costume or whatever, but it makes her head look small and her eyeballs real big, and like she can't move while she's talking. She's very stiff. If I didn't know better, I'd say she was a bad actress.
I've never seen her.
You'd almost think that your husband did something at the same company that you work for that might have helped you.
Kind of like Hera.
Yep.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've seen her act.
I've seen her ass.
In a couple. We all.
Yeah. Darben is Mrs. Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah.
And of course, this week, Loki was gone. Loki ended.
Lope Tree,
which
Oak
I
tree.
did not watch. I did not watch
Yeah.
one episode.
he turned
of it.
into a
checked.
fucking tree in the last episode.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
He turned into the new Yggdrasil, the tree of life, except now it's like the tree of the time loom.
Idrisil. So he turned into
Yeah.
Idrisil.
That's what it looks like, except it controls all the time in the universe. So all the multiverses are not destroyed because that's what the TVA was doing. So basically, the TVA's role now is to hunt down all the Kangs. It's a time Kang authority.
So do you think Kang is the worst villain ever, or is Darben?
Darben. By far.
Darben.
Because I mean, let's be honest, Kang keeps getting defeated every time he comes against anyone.
Christopher Eccleston.
What's up, Tyler?
Up, Tyler. No, we filmed that before the stream.
Right.
Yeah, Brad was amazing.
He was great.
But yeah, I thought she did a poor acting job, and they tried to make her sympathetic, but it didn't work because she went instant bitch
I
mode.
like that. Because I thought, oh, son of a bitch, they're gonna make her sympathetic. Everyone's gonna help out, and then she tries to kill him. Like, okay, I'm okay with that.
Now, and it didn't help that they put that grill in her mouth, which affected how she talked.
Yeah.
I mean, as someone who can barely talk now myself, I can relate, but that was just criminal.
Was it just trying to make her look a bit more mean?
I don't know.
Maybe.
I've seen anyone who uses a grill does not look mean to me. They look stupid. I'm just
because there was a lot of times where it was giant eyeballs and big teeth.
Well, she
Right.
had
Is that
AOC
your
definitely.
intimidating pose?
Right.
What is going on with that?
She definitely had the crazy
Weird.
eyes.
But I don't think the character of Darben was there much in the comics originally. I mean, he's a comic character and he's a male character. It's like maybe that's one of the reasons why they chose this, because there wouldn't be as much of a backlash with the gender swap, because it's like a kind of a know-nothing character. It's not like you're taking like the Thing and making a Benjamina Grimm. You know, I mean, that's
Don't be surprised. Mila
I
Kunis.
know.
Mila Kunis, come on now.
That's
Make it
true.
happen, Marvel.
Yeah.
Dude,
Make it happen, Marvel.
That was such a great troll. As soon as I heard that, I was like, bullshit. Be great,
Make it
though.
happen,
I'd fucking
Marvel.
laugh my ass off.
Make it happen, Marvel. Do it. I fucking dare you. So let me just ask this, because some of the mechanics in this film just don't work. I mean, we have already touched on how their powers are supposed to shift, they're supposed to trade places, but really it only happens when the plot needs it to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they never nailed that down. They never gave a
I
reason.
don't think
why.
they did either.
At one time they could do a blast and wouldn't do anything. Next time they do a blast, they swap places.
Now, when in true meme troll fashion, as this side of as our sphere does, just when I said, put a chick in it and make her lame and gay, Valkyrie appears. So
Mhm.
Exactly.
For no reason.
So
Now,
I was
Tyler,
expecting to see them scissor at any point.
which is weird. Oh, Thor 4 is worse by far.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
So now my question is this: we see the Bifrost, and I'm like, last time I checked, the Bifrost chamber was destroyed in Ragnarok.
Unless you use Stormbreaker, I suppose. Isn't it?
Well,
the Stormbreaker can,
well, and then Heimdall called on the Bifrost to send Hulk to Earth with his sword, but that ship got destroyed. So is Valkyrie now in control of Stormbreaker? Because that's the only thing that can manipulate or
No,
conjure
because
the
I would
Bifrost.
imagine she would have to bring it with her.
Right.
Yeah.
So I
so
can
maybe-
only imagine she was like, Thor, take me to see my girlfriend, please.
Well-
I need to get laid quick. And he just fucking
But
opened it for her.
Thor
and brought her back.
is not wielding Stormbringer. Thor's back to raiding Mjolnir.
Right.
And his
Love.
his adopted daughter, Love, who's actually his real daughter in real life, is wielding Stormbringer.
Correct.
That's what we
I'm
saw.
glad
in
I
Thor.
didn't watch Thor 4.
Oh, you should be glad.
You didn't miss much. You lost nothing, sir. You just
So the
You
only
probably
way they
gained
could
brain
do it
cells.
is either they gave Valkyrie power of the Bifrost, or
But
they
how?
found Heimdall's sword.
Or for all we know, maybe there's someone else in Asgard who developed the ability to call, or they developed a weapon. Same thing as Stormbringer. They could have done that. I mean, I don't think Peter Dinklage was dead. I don't think he died.
Or we're just giving them too much credit.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's
we're writing a
exactly-
better story than they wrote.
So
No, we're paying attention to the canon. We're paying attention to what was happening before, which is why so much of this movie does not make any damn sense.
Yeah.
And as Brad said earlier, this is set like right. So the question of taking the scrolls to New Asgard, when is this film set? Because if it's set around the same, so
It's after.
If that is true, if it's after Secret Invasion, there's an active vigilante hunting and murdering of Skrulls on Earth.
The reason I think
and New Asgard has no jurisdiction to do any immigration policy because they are a sanctuary granted by Norway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The reason I think we can definitively say it's after Secret Invasion is because at the end of
because of how Nick is acting.
Well, no, there's that too. But at the end of it, he and his wife, his lizard wife, talk about that they're going to go and work on the Skrull-Kree peace treaty, which is what we saw happening in this movie.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think maybe that is definitive proof. My understanding also that it was supposed to show that. And this Nick Fury is acting not as tired and broke down. I mean, there were definite issues with Nick Fury in this movie. I mean,
that's who Sam
fucking hell.
Jackson was playing. I couldn't work out his character.
It was a Fury
I've never
skin
seen
suit.
It before.
It was a Fury skin suit.
Fucking pathetic.
Or was he a Skrull?
It was like someone had taken. It was like someone had taken their granddad out of the home for the day, and he was just along for the ride because he hadn't got a fucking clue what was going on. Because Monica Rambeau and Stem, she would just come out with all this reason of why everything's happening, and he'd just be like, "Oh yeah, is that? Wow, is this what's happening?
Look, Gary's a Kree soldier.
Someone
Gary's a Kree soldier. I'm going to use my laser gun to shoot Gary this close. Oh, wait, I'm over here shooting because I'm Nick Fury and I apparently have lost the ability to shoot at point blank range. You're going to blow out the window of my little space elevator.
Yeah, and I have no idea what's going on. I don't have any plans. It's just like the Nick Fury I knew was dynamic and fucking
Had
knew
plans
what was
upon
going on.
plans.
He was 5 steps ahead of everyone. And this one was just an
And why
absolute
was the
stumble
space
bum.
elevator so fucking slow?
It's a slow elevator.
Why are they using that? Why aren't they using the ships they have?
Exactly.
And where did this damn space station come from suddenly?
Yeah, Saber. I have no idea where Saber came from.
I mean, there was a hint of it at the end of was it No Way Home? No, it wasn't No Way Home. It was Far From Home, right?
Right, Far From Home.
So he was like up on a space station with a bunch of Skrulls. There were a bunch of Skrulls up there, if I recall correctly, and he looked like he was relaxing. We didn't know if he was at Earth or not, but so I guess we're to presume that when S.H.I.E.L.D. went away, he somehow gathered enough people to say, let's start a new thing. Let's build a space station. Because I've lost the faith in everybody by running this organization terribly for the last 20 years, but it's because it's been controlled by Hydra. But look, give me trillions of dollars to build a giant space station.
Which is weird because this should be Sword.
And we had Sword.
In WandaVision.
We had Sword in WandaVision, yeah. And it was the right acronym. What does SABER stand for? They said something about it.
Yes. I have no idea. I don't care.
Saber, I'm thinking the Office episode when the company took over called Saber.
Hey, I gotta log out, log back in. Fucking this shit's fucking up on me.
Okay.
Here we go.
Hi, Pinky. So,
here we go. There it is.
So going back to the station, which stands for what, Brad?
Okay. It stands for Strategic Aerospace Biophysics and Exolinguistic Response.
All right.
That doesn't make any damn sense.
They need something. I have no idea.
Exolinguistic response, which is okay. So it's just an alien Tower of Babel.
Yeah.
Duke, Steve is complimenting you.
Wow.
It's the Rosetta Stone of spaceships, is it?
Why just today?
Why just today?
So I have another question. So the Captain Marvel film was set in 1995.
Mm-hmm.
The next time we see her is in 2023 with the battle with Thanos at the Avengers compound.
30 years later.
How old is Kamala Khan?
Oh, good man. You're where I'm at. Kamala Khan is 16 years old.
So where does she have all this information on Carol Danvers that she's such a fangirl?
But doesn't
I have a whole other theory.
Comic books a real thing there? Like there's Iron Man comics and Spider-Man comics and all this.
No,
I know
that's only in the comic books. That was in the comics. Yeah, the X-Men. That was true. You're right. That's the thing. It never made any sense to me why in this universe she's a Captain Marvel fan when, as far as we knew, she only came back to Earth to fight Thanos, or when the beeper went off.
Right.
That's the first time she came back.
Yeah.
And then she left because there's all these other. I mean, she left right after because 5 years later she says, "I'm out here taking care of the rest of the universe because it's falling apart." So she's not on Earth.
No.
So, but more to the point, my mind is there is some very inappropriate overtones, I think, to the way Kamala Khan, 16-year-old Kamala Khan, looks at 60-year-old Captain Marvel. She doesn't age.
Have you
she's
seen
60 years old.
how the Bieber fans act?
Well, and then here's something else. And this, I believe it was either Mahler or Chris Gore. Hey, JT, what's up? It was Mahler or Chris Gore brought this up, that there was a moment in the film where Carol takes a decisive action, and it's contrary to what. Good point. Yeah, it's contrary to what Kamala has invented in her head.
Mm-hmm.
This would have been a very good thing to go on the. This is why you don't meet your heroes, because they're going to disappoint you. It was touched. It was tapped. It did not explore it any further because it got resolved with another sit down and talk moment.
Yeah, but what should have been done is that should have been like a breakup point for everybody, where then they all just like, no, we can't do this. I can't be with you. And Monica's like, you abandoned me, and she takes off. And Kamala's like, you're not the person I thought you were. And then she takes off.
Take me
home. They don't use their powers. And that's it. And then somehow they get back together, have no choice. And that's how they resolved, realizing we have to work together. We have to put our differences. It would have been a little more of an interesting movie, but it was just, we're going to talk. Girl power conquers all.
Well, yeah. And then don't forget, for Monica to fly, it's a black girl magic. Cringe.
Dude,
Cringe
that was
line.
the cringe. And that final trailer, they gave you the entire movie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They literally gave you the entire movie in that final trailer.
Well, legitimately, there's only 90 minutes of a movie.
But they gave you like her with the nega bands creating the hole, and Monica Rambeau getting trapped in the other dimension. They gave you everything in that trailer.
You saw Binary even.
Yeah.
Now, for me, the cringiest moment of all, which is sad because I actually like this actress. We are in New York. We're inside. We're seeing the inside of an apartment, and you see a shadow coming up to the door, and then you see a bow, and I'm just like, and I'm watching this, and then I'm like, oh, hi, Kate, and someone 3 seats over said, who's Kate?
Yeah.
So then she opens her door, and you hear Kate Bishop, and I'm like, no, they're not. No, they are not.
You're part of a bigger world.
Absolute ripoff.
Damn near line for line.
Exactly. It is almost line for line, and I'm just like, they're actually doing this. And Iman, bless her heart, she looks like she's having the time of her life.
Yes.
She seems very genuine, very sweet.
She was the best thing of it.
Yeah.
Get away from Disney as
From
soon
Marvel.
as you can, sweetie, before they break you. And
oh my God, guys.
Oh, hi, doggy. And I actually like Haley Steinfeld, and I actually like Haley Steinfeld as an actress. I mean, I mean, the Hawkeye show was terrible. It wasn't a Hawkeye show. It was a Kate Bishop show. But she was not the worst part of this. So they just not any masculine energy in this film.
No.
At all. Not one drop of it. This was girl power. This was MCU to a T.
Yeah, it was awful.
Yeah. The worst thing in this movie was the story and
the dialogue. The writing was terrible. Well, the execution was terrible.
CGI was horrendous.
It wasn't
as bad as the Eternals.
It wasn't okay.
The landscapes were pretty good, but anything else. When I saw her get out of her ship with that fucking cat on her shoulder, I was like, "You're having a fucking laugh, surely." Ridiculous.
And I had
Goose.
Which in the comics, Goose is a male and his name Chewie.
And
And
that's because that's when when the real Ms. Marvel first appeared back in the late 70s, early 80s. Chewie.
Chewbacca. Right. And when they went the singing planet, the ocean planet, they speak only in song, but the prince can speak in regular English because he's bilingual. They're singing in English.
Yeah.
Stop trying to make sense.
But then, as Darben is pulling the ocean out, a space rip opens up right above Hala as water is just dumping billions of metric tons of water.
Yeah, I was waiting for a tsunami.
How much damage has just been caused? You have killed
you wiped out your population, haven't you?
There you go.
But they took an alien atmosphere.
Right. Spaceballs.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of looked at it and thought you could have ended this film within like the first 20 minutes. And if only when they arrived at the first planet to take the atmosphere, if Captain Marvel just pretty much destroyed all of Darwin's ships, she'd have been stuck there
Right.
and she would have
And
died
and
because there was no
the
atmosphere.
and the dying sun. I mean, if you gave me a week, I could not list all the reasons why that just doesn't work. I mean, the gravitational implications on that are astronomical. I mean, just a few degrees on your axis, your planet either freezes or burns.
Yeah.
And it technically, Hala has an atmosphere. It's just poisoned because if there was no atmosphere, they'd be sucked away into space. So they have just a poisoned atmosphere. So I guess they're replacing it with good stuff, but it still has to match. You can't institute a whole alien environment in there.
Right. And because
it's Spaceballs.
Yeah, but Spaceballs is stupid.
Make it make sense.
Because we also know from Captain the Marvel that the Skrulls are not carbon-based life forms.
Mm-hmm.
So
they're not like us.
So their physiology is very different from humans.
See, that would have been a nice dark turn in the film if she'd have put the atmosphere into their planet and she was like, take all your masks off, you'll be fine. And then they all do it and suffocate.
Like,
fuck.
And
they just killed everybody.
Now let's think about when we get to the end here. I know but this goes towards Carol being OP in my thoughts. So this is just as we said, I don't think she's as bad in this movie as the other ones. But I don't think they realize that this character, they're not representing her well. They're representing her like she's a new superhero. Like she's not spent the last 30 years being a superhero. And in those 30 years, she didn't think, I feel a little guilty, man. Maybe I should at least go get some therapy. I mean, she's been doing this for 30 years. She's still hung up on it. She can't get over it. And she hasn't done anything. And it's like Monica goes, I went to STEM, reignite the sun. Oh, good idea. I'll go do that. How am I going to do that? I don't know. I'm just going to go do it. And then I revitalize the planet. You didn't think about this after 30 years? Monica says, go do it. And then you do? How?
Which from what we gathered from the original film, Carol is quite smart.
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of stuff in here that didn't make sense. Was it the worst Marvel film ever? No.
Now
here's a bigger question.
That would be Thor: Love and Blunder.
And I think this was better than Mom.
Oh,
yeah, it'd be
a little better.
By.
A little better.
I like the sneak peeks at Rami in that.
I would
few and far between though.
I would say this is a better film than the third Ant-Man film by a long shot.
That's wrong in that.
It's better than Wakanda, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Did you not think though this felt like the Marvels Wakanda in space?
Now this I will give Chris Gore. This was hilarious. He was talking with Drinker and Mahler, and I don't remember who else. Oh, it was Tom Connors, where he said this film had Samuel Jackson play a Bosley type character, and this was Charlie's Angels with superpowers in space. This could have been a fun film.
Mm-hmm.
There are spots in this where you're like, wow, this could have been good. There are several spots where you're like, man, this could have been a good movie.
There's elements that they could have made something out of it. And I think like we're saying that this was a much larger movie than it came out as.
Oh, definitely.
And when they pared it down because we realized, all right, so this messaging narrative we're putting out there is not working. it really made it look hodgepodge. It may have actually made more sense with all the other stuff in it, but it would have turned off people even more, which is really amazing thing to say right now, given the box
here's
office.
another question. Does this movie deserve the box office it is receiving?
No.
What do you think, Rivers?
I would say yes, because it does, but I think probably most of phase 4 and phase 5 deserve to be about this sort of position as well. They're all shit, and they're dog shit in amongst cat shit all around. So people are almost getting used to this sort of, oh, well, it's a bit shit, but it's all right. People are paying good money to go and fucking see this, and it's wasted. You're wasting your money going to see all of this, and it's bullshit. Like, I just think it's fucking poor form. They're terrible.
Which, speaking of cat shit, spoiler alert, folks. The escape plan from the damaged Saber station is to let the Flurkins swallow you, because Goose has laid eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Massive amounts of eggs.
Yeah, there's a plot point where they're like trying to figure out what they are.
C-plot out of nowhere.
So this is not the Tribbles, so stop with that. But the scene where the Flurkins are swallowing the people so they can all fit into this one escape pod, they're actually playing the theme song of Cats.
Yeah.
In the background. The best part is, the Saber station is announcing, quote, "Stop running and let the Flurkin eat you." That is an actual quote from the movie. Someone wrote down this line, put it in the movie, and they looked at it and go, yeah, that's good.
Brad, because it's wacky. It's a wacky film.
And as if I'm Just a Girl from No Doubt wasn't cringy enough from the first film, this has topped that. This has absolutely topped that.
The writer is a cat mom.
The writer's a cat mom, and and Blake, he is a graduate from Duke.
Me and Coach K picture over there.
Yeah, because Blake lives in the
Here, I put that in. That's probably in my chat. I'll put this in private. You can share it. Joker.
Well, you're a wrench. You're a wrench.
I don't have your stream up right now. I got a bunch of shit up. So
whatever.
I want to play something real quick, and I honestly, somebody sent me a notification to watch this, and I was already watching this. I died laughing. I got to reshare my stuff here because I had to sign out. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. Let's see if you guys can hear this.
Speaking of shots, Brad, how many deep are you in at this point in time?
Well, actually not. And I know before the stream we were talking about the Marvels. And I did see it today, but I saw it differently, and I saw it in theaters, guys.
You poor bastard. You spent money on this.
I spent money. It is a different experience, and I must tell you right now, I am part of our world. The experience of seeing it on the big screen has transformed me in ways I did not imagine. I now live in a world without light, without warmth, without rationality, without confidence.
He's gonna start drinking like green titty milk or something.
I only wish I could go back to that paradise. It was the Last Jedi. This is a world video where Brie Larson sings.
Oh God.
I now live in a world where a 16-year-old Pakistani girl may or may not want to have sex with a superhero who's actually 60 years old.
Oh
That is
my
true.
God.
That is very true.
This is a world where, for some reason, this Pakistani family's running around a super space station and a world where
Why
Nick
it's lagging out on
Fury
me.
has become the comic relief like Thor and Ragnarok. StreamYards was bugging me that night. I do not ask you to weep for me. I made this decision myself. I will live with this decision, and it's going to be very difficult. And I want this to serve as a cautionary tale. If you must see the Marvels, please do not see it in a theater. The experience that large has taken what left I had of a soul as a lawyer. But if you do see it, all I can say to you, listen to these words, heed these words. Promise me this. Stop running and let the Flurkin eat you. Stop running and let the Flurkin eat you. I beseech you. Please. Good night.
I feel like my life.
Joking, but that's the actual line.
Yeah.
And he's gone. Wow. It just. But yeah, you can watch that in the entirety in a better rate on his stream.
It's actually StreamYards was messing up that night. I had to I logged out, I logged back in, I took my VPN off and everything, and it finally started working a little better. StreamYards is terrible these days.
Oh, but yeah, Brad kills it with the dry humor. It literally I had tears in my eyes. I was laughing so hard.
That was my Jedi robe.
It worked. That's deep. That was pretty good. That was a pretty good opener right there.
I actually had filmed myself walking out of the theater and I was going to do a short. And when I got back to the car, I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do this.
What was as you were in the theater, anyone around you enjoying it, laughing, anything?
There were maybe 6 people in the theater and it was quiet the entire time. I immediately left. As soon as Kate Bishop was done, I left because I already saw the end scene with Beast. So I'm like, I'm not even waiting for this. I just got to get home. I got to feed my dogs. My wife is out of town, so like I got to feed the dogs.
That Beast scene, they added that like a week before the movie release. And I get a feeling it was in there, but it was a conversation between her and Binary, and they added Beast in there.
Now, Beast is entirely CG, I believe. I think he's entirely
Beast is
CGI.
entirely CGI.
Yeah, because it looked like
they're probably old lines from outtakes from the old movies that they use because the actor strike wasn't up.
Oh, that's true.
Unless they got permission for him to do a VA, which they were.
No, voice actors weren't doing anything either.
No, they were. So there was a bunch of people complaining that the big Hollywood studios were getting releases to continue filming, but the small studios couldn't get shit. They couldn't get any releases to have people film. Gina Carano was talking about it. There was 2 or 3 other people talking about it. So
I just thought of something I hadn't.
But I don't even think she's part of SAG anymore. I think she got kicked out.
Well, now I was just thinking of something because sometimes I also watch like that show Critical Role with all the voice actors on it, and they continue to work, I think, throughout the entire strike.
Yeah,
right. Because I don't think it affected the voice actors, and I don't know if you mentioned this yet, but this film is having an impact now on future Marvel films. I watched something from WW Pro that Captain America: Brave New World, stupid name, is already it's in the can, it's done, but it's going back for major reshoots.
Yeah, 3 major scenes, 5 months of reshoots,
5 months of reshoots.
But we're supposed to get the casting for Fantastic Four at the end of the week. We're supposed to get what Blade is now going to be sub 100 million. It can be. It's a fucking horror movie.
Yes, and
makes sense.
And horror films you can make on the cheap.
Yeah, look at original Blade. That was made
at the end of it. you have fucking Blade walk into his house and the ring opens and in walks Dr. fucking Strange and you just kick off the Midnight Suns.
Fuck the Midnight Suns.
I would enjoy the Midnight Suns from a horror aspect. If they did it as horror movies.
I don't see them going that. I don't see Marvel going that route. If it's done in conjunction with Searchlight or 20th Century, maybe.
Yeah,
but
the Midnight Daughters, it would be done.
Well, that's what you would have had with the original script. And Blade was fourth, followed by three women, and then it was all about life choices,
life lessons, right?
Yeah, it's all about life lessons.
So
me and Joker have been talking about this behind the scenes. Go ahead, Rivers.
I was going to say, so what do you guys think is going to happen now, considering Marvel's in such a shit place? Like, are we going to still get the Armor Wars? Are we going to get a conclusion to multiverse sagas? Or are they just going to start shit canning stuff?
If I think we're going to get stuff that's going to be shit canned. I think Marvel has no choice.
A lot of stuff's been delayed to 2025 now, hasn't it? So that's pushing all the bigger stuff, you'd say, even further. And 2026, 27.
I mean, even I was watching WW Pro talking about Deadpool 3. It's been pushed to the last weekend in July. You're going up against, you're going up against back to school spending now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not going to help it. Captain America: Brave New World, stupid name, is still slotted for Valentine's Day. I'm sorry, what?
2025.
Right.
The only reason Black Panther made sense for February was it was released during Black History Month.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it's not a racist.
So this
also
is
when the McRib comes back out.
Now I think for the next couple years we're still gonna get some of this garbage out because this stuff has already been greenlit. It was already in the can, and some of it may have too many foreign contracts to where they just have to release it. The stuff that is supposed to go to Disney Plus, they should just scrap it all. Just don't even do it.
Ironheart
is definitely too. I think we're gonna really have to see when the annual shareholders meeting is, when they elect the new board, and how many seats Nelson Peltz is gonna get on the board. That's gonna be a huge determining factor as to what goes forward.
And what if Perlmutter is then back on board?
You don't need him there. You don't need him there because
you got to think though, they're at a crossroads by now. Like, you've got the Marvels, which is going to perform. Jesus Christ, you'd be lucky to make 300 at this rate.
Yeah.
So
you'd be lucky to make
250 probably. But you've got that. So then surely everything else following on, who's interested? So who's gonna? Why Deadpool 3 will probably do better, obviously, because everyone likes a lot of people like Deadpool.
Do better, and it may turn a profit. It's not go. It's
I would say that's 50-50, and whether that happens or not,
it is not going to hit $1 billion. It's
we may never see another billion.
Yeah, not for a while.
Yeah, well, we're not seeing profit
not from Marvel
in the first place, even with $1 billion.
That's what I'm saying. Like you've got. So you've got. I had it there a second ago. So you've got Deadpool 3, which might turn a profit, and you've got Captain America: New World Order. I can't see that making a profit. Thunderbolts, no one gives a fuck.
No.
Blade,
Young Avengers, no one cares.
No, Blade. Everyone loves Blade character, but you'd like to think now that they've pretty much fired everyone and starting from scratch again that they might do something. But I'm definitely holding out for that.
Daredevil,
that's TV redone,
and that's being sent back to square one.
Mm-hmm.
It is, yeah. But you get to a point now. Who's going to want to go and see these films?
No one.
It's
Well,
we're dwindling returns here, aren't we?
This
It's
is
not getting better.
this is the result. This is the result of the brand damage that Kevin Feige has done, because since 2015, Kevin Feige has had no one to check him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, when you have a creative, which I don't consider Kevin a creative, when you have a studio head that is unchecked by anybody, this is what you get. He decided to go politics over profits, and it was a Valiant who pointed out that Captain Marvel was doomed to fail. And people say, well, it made $1 billion. Okay, it made $1 billion at the box office. What was the merchandise sales doing? Nothing.
No.
Star Wars.
I'm
Where did
surprised
Star
they
Wars
still
make all of
made
its
this.
money?
Merchandising.
Merchandise, yeah.
Merchandising. Spaceballs, the flamethrower.
But it's that. I mean,
Then
even,
Elon made it.
Yeah.
Even, fuck! I so cannot remember half of this fucking film. It's been a real nightmare to try and write a review down for this because I keep forgetting it all. I've even forgotten Brie Larson, her name. Jesus Christ! Even Brie Larson's self-aware and knows that people don't really like her. So
I think Bree's done. I think,
but how does the studio not realize that? So, I fucking just don't understand these people's thinking. It's like, you do realize that Captain Marvel made $1 billion because it was sandwiched between Endgame and Infinity War.
And we're told you have to see it to understand Endgame.
And you were, and she was set up to be the next big thing to carry on Phase 4, 5, and onwards. And they never used her except until recently. It's just like, so you must have known that she was poorly received and no one really liked her.
And
so why did you make
this
this
from the
fucking film?
merchandise
Why
sales?
did you make this film? Because you knew it was. You should have known it was
reaction.
It was a reaction, and so Captain Marvel, that film got made initially because the only reason the Captain Marvel film got made is because DC. No, because DC made a film called The Wonder Woman that embarrassed Kevin Feige.
Yeah,
that's the only reason it got made.
Because DC put out a female-led action superhero before Marvel did. So the original Captain Marvel was a reaction. And they overcompensated by going way too much on the message and avoiding the actual story. Now, was Wonder Woman very feminist? Yes, it was. It's very pro-feminist, but it had a likable character, had a likable actress in Gal Gadot, and a good overall story. We didn't have that with Captain Marvel.
Gal Gadot helped that a lot.
And Chris Pine was not undercut. He was still allowed to be heroic.
Yeah.
Goodbye,
it was
Penny.
a good balance. See ya.
And the original plan was to have was to go from Tony and Steve to go with T'Challa, Peter Parker, and Carol as the three heads of the Avengers going forward. No one could have foreseen the death of Chadwick. So that tossed a wrench in the whole thing. The problem with Spider-Man is you've got Marvel and Sony arguing about Tom Holland and his contract all the time. So that's up in the air. So you're left with Carol to be the face, and her first outing didn't go well, so it really soured what everything was going to be going forward.
If they could roll with the punches,
it was me,
figure something out.
If it was me, if I was somehow in charge of Marvel now, I would fire everyone. Just like with Lucasfilm, I would fire everyone. whatever I have that is going to Disney Plus, scrap it. Done. It's not happening. I would focus on two things. The next Avengers film, which if you're going to stay with Kang, I would recast, and I would do a proper intro for the Fantastic Four, and then in Secret Wars, do a proper intro of the X-Men. Just focus on those two things. Get those right.
Yeah.
I tell you the other thing that didn't help with the Captain Marvel was they put Brie out very front forward when Endgame came out. Now, I think there was originally a lot more Captain Marvel in Endgame because I understood that there was there was almost 4 hours worth of footage, which could have made a 4-hour movie, and they cut it down to what it's at. But I think she's supposed to be in it a lot more. And I think when they first got a response, did they do any adjustments, Joker? You probably would know more than I would.
The Russos had to do a lot of adjustments because the Russos didn't understand her powers and how it would fit. And at this time, the Marvel Cinematic Committee was no longer in place, which was the check against Kevin just going ham.
It was Perlmutter, right?
Well, that's what he instituted, because the entire purpose of Marvel Cinemas was to make quality films that sold toys and were interconnected. That was the plan. And once Perlmutter had a committee that the scripts got sent to, and they went over them, and they said, "Wait, this doesn't work. This doesn't work."
That's smart.
Checks and balances, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Kevin is going paint by numbers on the fly.
Right. Yeah. But I think when they were also doing the promotion, go back and watch the promotional stuff with Brie Larson, Chris Hemsworth, and Jeremy Renner. Holy shit. I thought Hemsworth was going to freaking lose it. He's like, no, you're not right. It's like, who the hell are you? I've been here 10 years. You just walked in, kiddo. Don't take our thunder. We're the OG. You listen to us. I mean, that's a legitimate point. See, I'm the new girl. I'm in charge now. And it's like, no, they were here at the beginning. They made this possible for you. So you shut up and just be, I'm so glad to be part of this. These guys have laid it all out. We can't wait for us to come in and take over and show what great characters we are and build up everything. She didn't promote. She promoted herself and feminism.
And just last night, there was a right before she went on to one of the late night talk shows. She released a little thing where it was like thanking the fans for coming in, and I'm like, okay, Brie, that's good. It's 5 years too late, but this is because I believe Brie has a brand new PR team around her, and that they have told her, shut up.
Yeah, she has changed a lot on the way she talks in public and everything else. Kind of like, oh, I fucked up. I mean, if she starts carrying a Donald Trump flag, it wouldn't shock me.
Back then, with all those press junkets, back in that time, there was a big power dynamic shift in Hollywood, wasn't it? It was very much feminist.
That was the Me
moving
Too
forward.
time.
And so you could shout your mouth, couldn't you? You could shout, you could run it and say all of this stuff, and the men would have to sort of cower and not quite say anything. But you watch any of those press junkets with her involved, whether it was her and Jeremy or her and Chris,
Don Cheadle,
it's all just
Jeremy Renner
painful to watch. Times. Really is painful to watch. Funny, like when Don Cheadle's like, "I told you not to touch me, don't touch me."
And Renner's supposed to be like. Renner's supposed to be like very down to earth, very polite person.
He comes across really well.
Yeah, my buddy. So my buddy works in a casino in Reno, and his wife works there too. She does the VIP stuff. He's been in there multiple times. He comes in. He doesn't make a scene. He's not like, I'm famous. Look at me. He comes in, spends his money, goes eats at the steakhouse, and goes home. if you come up to him and talk to him, he shakes your hands, he'll sign something, he's nice.
That's cool.
But he's not very stuck up.
Right. And just the complete, and his co-star in this show where he played the sidekick,
That's right.
Haley
The Kate
Steinfeld. Right. Where Haley Steinfeld has said nothing but positive things about him. Nothing but positive about him. As opposed to Snow Wolf.
She's a good actress.
She is good. Now, if you look at her social media stuff, she does lean. She definitely leans left.
Yeah.
But she's got a good team around her, unlike a certain Snow White.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Who just can't shut her mouth.
She can lean left. I don't care, but you don't need to be spouting hate and making all these demands and all this other stuff and being a complete ass, Ron Perlman.
It's just like the rumor of what Jordan said. Even Republicans buy sneakers.
Shoes. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he said that.
Well, and part of this, we'll go ahead and put it up here. Part of this right here is catering to one audience.
Right.
That one audience showed up.
So, and this is something else that what Marvel was, and some people are trying to say that, oh, this is a Marvel chick flick. Marvel is a male brand. Now, you did have a chick flick this year, Barbie, and it was bonkers. It did bonkers because it was a recognizable IP for women. This was a female product directed to females, and let's be honest, the chick flick has kind of been avoided for about the last 10 years.
Yeah. Because I should have pulled the damn articles. White men don't need to watch this movie. Why are white men avoiding this movie? Talking about the Charlie's Angels movie?
Yeah, you can't win.
For example. I mean,
I saw the first Charlie's Angels movie. Not the stuff that came out afterwards because it wasn't good. But I wanted to go see
Charlie's Angels movie started off with Charlie, Cameron Diaz,
and Drew Barrymore.
Especially, and when they're fighting the villain, and you got Smack My Bitch Up in the background, fucking brilliant. Love that. They had a bit of Matrix style fighting in there.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Right,
but
it was a fun film.
Yeah, this thing's worldwide done $110 million.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Terrible.
It's gonna be hard to hit 300, and we know that this budget is over 300 million. Plus, add another 100 million for advertising.
Well, I'm guessing because
smaller.
No, larger.
Yeah, they don't have the stars. It's in their contract to do all the PR. They had to do more advertising.
This is because a lot of us have kind of cut the cord with cable and stuff, but you go to cable channels or anything like that, because I work in a bar, so that's what we have. Every third commercial is the Marvels.
So I didn't know that.
They are heavily marketing this film. So I'm looking at
what about Twitter at the moment?
So
is the bots, the fans that seem to have a Twitter account that is just 100% the Marvels,
so
absolutely going off insane this weekend.
So this marketing budget is going to be at least 150 million. At least. So
it has to make $1 billion to break even.
Yeah.
At low end, 900.
Yeah. So I'll put it this way. So my mom is 76 years old. She knows nothing about box office budgets. I'd show her the Marvel movies. She likes them. She doesn't. Me and her get along very similar on what movies we do like and don't like. I told her, I said, Marvels did 47 million domestically opening weekend. She was like, could they make them lower? She's like, that sounds like it didn't do anything. And I'm like, no, it didn't do anything. I'm like, that's a flop. I'm like, remember Guardians of the Galaxy opened to 119 domestically and it was a failure. Everybody was screaming it was a failure.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what? Guardians, what, 250? 225?
The production budget was like total price tag. It needed to hit somewhere around
900, wasn't it?
Somewhere around the 850-ish area. I mean, but
and it might have made $1,000.
It may have broken even. There is not one film post Endgame that has turned a profit from Marvel Studios.
Yeah, because we're not counting No Way Home.
No, that's Sony.
That's Sony. And Marvel got a little bit, not a lot.
Marvel got okay, because the Valiant did the math. Marvel got maybe $100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but let's look at during COVID, released on streaming at the same time.
Right.
Black Widow. $80
Mm-hmm.
million, which
Correct.
was a film that was 5 years too late. Both me and Joker agreed on that. That should have been released like after Civil War or around in that time. Yeah. So that still did $80 million. Shang-Chi did $75 million. The Eternals did 71.
Which all three of those films, COVID films.
Yes.
COVID era.
Yeah. And The Flash, and you know what? Probably the reason those actually did that well was because people wanted to get the fuck out of the house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Flash was 55 million, and that was a flop. But it also had more viewing numbers than Ahsoka episode 1. Its first 6 days of streaming had what, 1.6 or no, its first 4 days was like 1.1, and Ahsoka took 6 days to hit 1.6.
One in 6 days it did 1.2.
Yeah. Yeah. So this was a flop, but it still beat Ahsoka. What's up, Pat?
Jesus Christ.
I'm working on a stream to get you on, sir.
Yeah, this is where Disney has pushed politics over profit.
Yes. And this is where we're going to transfer over to the House of the Mouse here in a second, because this is not good for anybody involved. Before we go there, we got a fair number of viewers. Let me get this up here. I want everybody to go check out this channel right here. Go check out Rivers Honest Reviews. I'm telling you, look at these videos. He puts together some great videos. I can't put together videos as well as this guy does. Go check his stuff out. I can't show for him any harder than I already am.
Thank you.
I supremely enjoy his videos. He should that should be 9,000 views. That should be 10,000 views. I'm telling you.
Oh my God.
I am already subscribed to your channel, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
But yeah, Rivers is I love
that One
love
Piece
the way
show,
you
by the
put
way.
the videos together. And I like watch your video, and I've already done a review on it. And I'm like, motherfucker, I didn't catch that.
Trust me, you guys catch a lot more than I do, because you guys know the comics hell of a lot more than I do. So
I don't know.
I might
I
pick
actually-
up that side of things.
I actually don't. I'm a film guy, and I've just watched so much. I've watched so much superhero related stuff that I kind of have a general idea of where this stuff is supposed to be and the characterizations of what these characters should be. I mean, go on.
Waiting on my CGC grade.
I was going to say, I ended up starting my channel, just over a year ago now, probably for the same reasons mainly you guys did, because I was just sick to death of how.
I did it because Gary told me to.
Gary told me to.
It was on FNT. He looked right at me. He's like, "Go start a channel."
Hey guys, just so you know, Marvel is not sitting around right now. They are advertising on Twitter.
Number one movie of the
number one in the world.
Number one movie in the world.
Well, that's not saying much. Well, that's not saying much.
If FNAF had not released on Peacock at the same time, it would have stomped its ass into the ground.
Isn't a Songbird one out now?
Just imagine this. Imagine if Dune wasn't pushed back.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, it would have been.
Oh, imagine they came out on the same day.
Did they get the IMAX theaters that Dune was claiming?
Yeah.
Okay. And still it did this. And still
I reckon it would have done half.
Oh, hold on. I got a bookmark about IMAX. I had actually messaged
Dune
Rivers about it.
Dune was supposed to be released last week. And
they wouldn't have got a look in, would they?
And then the prequel to the Hunger Games is released next week.
Oh, is that next week? Is it?
Yep.
Oh,
Richard Ziegler's going to talk.
See what that. Can't wait to see what that does. Because who's interested in watching that?
From what I've heard,
Hunger Games.
What was it?
I mean, Jennifer Lawrence was the first and all.
What was it? Chris Gore said it's not terrible.
Yeah, but it's got Rachel Ziegler in it, and she's just an annoying little twat.
She is not the main character.
Is Snow?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is his story.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Snow's story. I don't have the bookmark, but they were offering a coupon code called Marvel Mondays, and you through Fandango you can get $22 off your IMAX ticket for Captain Marvel.
Wow.
I paid $26 to go see Oppenheimer IMAX. So I could go for $4. I still wouldn't go.
You know what they're doing? They're taking the Bud Light method of selling tickets. Basically just making it for free.
Yeah. But yeah, where do you guys think Marvel's going to, we got into it a little bit, but do you think Marvel's going to condense down a little bit? Or do you think all of Disney is going to condense down a little bit? Because obviously the woke stuff has hurt them.
They've got to. They are hemorrhaging so much money and not making any. Like,
that's investor call. They're going to start licensing to Netflix. Now, it's not going to be Star Wars, Marvel, or stuff like that, but they're going to start licensing stuff out, which is a sign of failure.
I mean, the best thing would be for them to sell it, but they won't. Because, as we all know,
they're going to sell off some properties.
But Disney is a girl brand. Always has been, always will be. That's never going to change.
Which is why
Marvel, Star Wars,
and Marvel to bring in guys. And what do? They girled them.
They isolated them.
You're the boy brands. Bring in the boys. No, we're going to turn them to female centric. Then why did you buy it?
Let's be honest. Who's the largest demographic of people who go to the cinema, go to theaters? It's men, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Men are the largest majority of people who go and spend money going to the theater, and all Marvel has done is isolate them from wanting to go and see these things, and that's why their profits are non-existent, because no man wants to go and watch their shit anymore.
And again, going back to the Wonder Woman point, I went to see Wonder Woman in the theater because it looked like a good show, and it was a good movie. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed Wonder Woman.
Not talk about that. But I think that's when what's her name, Patty Jenkins, was given too much control, and no one was looking over her shoulder for what she was doing.
It's funny how people who suddenly don't have anyone looking over their shoulder, it goes all a bit tits up, like
Kevin Feige.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. That was part of the reason a lot of people didn't like the prequels.
If you look at that Variety article, they talk about the failure at Marvel, and it can just be transposed right to Disney too, and also to Star Wars, about the failure in communication. Well, they're doing so much in pre-production instead of fixing it on the front end, and that's why directors don't want to work with them, because the director is removed from the film once they're done filming.
Well, they're not writing scripts anymore.
No, they got like 2 pages of scripts. This is the idea we're going to do. Shoot.
We're getting
pre-production.
We're getting pre-made action sequences as well, aren't we? Just to fit into whatever film there is.
Yeah.
Well, what was it?
That's
what did we hear about the Mandalorian episode where Robert Rodriguez directed it? It's like 17 pages of script, and then it just said fight at certain times. Fight. And just 17 pages. It's like, what are you doing then? Well, just send out a bunch of cameras on robots and let it happen. Because no one's working. There's no
Well, it's like the-
creativity being involved.
Yeah, I was going to say there's no creative control, is there? Because
and then you hire
the
first
directors
time
are
fight coordinators.
just doing as they're told.
Oh, like Ahsoka.
Yeah. She was the stunt double for Fennec Shan and had been a stunt double multiple times. She had assisted with props or something like that. And then they just made her the stunt coordinator, the fight coordinator for Ahsoka. And it showed. It really showed.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like there was anyone out there who maybe 20 years ago developed an actual lightsaber fighting style, which we actually saw in one episode because one young gentleman still had muscle memory of how he was trained 20 years ago.
Yeah, I'd have liked to have been on the set for that when he's just like, come on, speed it up. Go faster.
I mean, you could see Hayden slowing down. It's just like, ugh. And it was the thing of it was, and I know we talked about before, but like if you go back and watch Sith, the behind the scenes, you would see them practicing it over and over again so that they just did it. It wasn't planning out the hit. They just did it. So their bodies became used to the choreography and they didn't need to think about it. They clearly did not have the time to do that on that show. And it really showed. And I think not having someone who understood how to teach people saber combat is the same thing.
Well, Brad, do you not think that they, because I didn't watch much of it, but do you not think that they just didn't like fighting with lightsabers? Like they weren't interested in it? Like it wasn't fun for them? Like if you hear a story between Ewan McGregor and what's his face?
Hayden?
No. Go back to Phantom Menace. So you know the three of them.
Qui-Gon and Rey.
Yeah,
and Ray Park.
I remember watching an interview with Ewan McGregor. I think he was on a talk show in England, and he was saying they had so much fun playing Jedis that they were getting told off all the time when they were doing the lightsaber sequences because they kept going and they were like, "Stop with the fucking noises already!" And they were like,
"You know why?
Having so much fun."
I'll tell you why. Because they all grew up like we grew up playing Star Wars as kids, and we were making the noise. So they are literally living out their childhood fantasy.
They were having a great time. But when I just saw the little clips of what they were doing now, it just to me looked like they couldn't be fucking arsed. Like, this is just a gig for me. I don't really care about Star Wars. This is not really doing
Ray
it for
Stevenson
me.
looked like he enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I will say that Hayden never lost a step. Hayden was still in Revenge of the Sith form.
So supposedly, I understand he still does that. Like that's his martial arts, and that's what George said in an interview that Hayden was a natural when you put the saber in his hand. That would doing the fight sequences. That's one of the reasons why he picked him was because he had a natural knack for it. And that was you know what, that one episode of Ahsoka, it was nice to see him do that again and just watch him flow. It was effortless for him.
That episode also showed me, that episode told me that Hayden has not lost a step, and that a 14-year-old plays Ahsoka better than Rosario Dawson does.
Yes.
That girl, I bet you she's in I bet she does like the band camp shit with the little spinning thing. Maybe what the hell you call it. But she's probably done that. She's probably already athletic. She's probably in gymnastics, all that stuff. Because they do it to those actor kids. They put them in everything. So they're physically able to do everything.
You know who she is?
She was young Gamora, right?
Yep.
Rosario Dawson looked like an old
Gamora.
woman.
Oh, yeah.
So Rosario Dawson at 40 years old did a nude shoot for Vogue.
Don't get me wrong. She's like she's a good-looking woman. She's in really good nick.
Yeah, but she was like impeccable, like muscle definition, everything. You look at the last episode of Ahsoka where she finally takes the shawl off. Her arm is just a straight line while she's using that lightsaber. There is no muscle definition in her arm.
That was Sabine too.
Yeah, Sabine looked like Sabine was fighting Big Mac.
Unless
she
had her helmet on.
Oh yeah.
I just think there's a bit of disdain there. Like they got a gig that they, paid them well, but they weren't really particularly interested in it. Like was it one of the early scenes when she's fights those weird robotic stormtroopers or something or other right at the beginning, and she jumps out of that hole
Yeah.
And she just looks like a little old lady as she jumps out.
Yeah.
It just looked. It's just.
How long did I scream about how bad that scene looked?
And when is it when the zombie stormtroopers are shooting at them, and she just looks like she's just twiddling the lightsabers? Just
that blocking was terrible.
God, it looked awful.
Yeah, it was just like move the
really
lightsabers
awful.
back and forth. We'll make the blasters hit them.
Yeah,
exactly what it looked like. Ezra did a halfway decent job with the saber work compared to her
when he had one.
Well,
when he had one.
That's a low bar.
Yeah,
I don't think they made him train. I don't think they really made him train.
I've seen some videos where supposedly, like it said, Rosario Dawson was training a couple hours a day.
Okay, well,
they did fencing.
But
like they did kendo and stuff in the prequels.
Right, and Rosario had to do some training because of the scenes that she was doing with the gal who played Morgan Elsbeth, because she is a trained martial artist.
Oh,
it's probably why she was better than Ahsoka was when you watched them. And that's why Ray Park got his job. What that was supposed to, who was that supposed to be? Leonardo DiCaprio or somebody like that? It was supposed to be somebody famous, and they didn't want to do it because they died. Yeah, it was originally supposed to play Darth Maul. It was somebody that was famous or something like that, and they didn't. They decided they didn't want to do it because they were going to die. They weren't going to stay alive, and
they had no lines.
Yeah, and they had no lines. So they just hired the stuntman. And fucking Ray Park will go to conventions for the rest of his fucking life and twirl a double-bladed lightsaber and make money.
Well, Ray Park did have one line, didn't he? But it was dubbed.
There was a couple, but yeah.
With 2 lines.
Yeah, well.
But that's still, even though I'm all about the OG trilogy,
right.
For me, when those blast doors open and Darth Maul is there and he switches that double-edged lightsaber on, that for me, I think that is the best scene of all of Star Wars.
Well, we first saw that in the preview.
Fight. Oh,
I lost my shit.
I was like, holy shit,
I still watch it now. I will still, if I'm just thinking I need a quick something to look at, I'll Google that in YouTube.
I got to bring my R2-D2 up. I got the R2-D2 they used to have in the gas station.
You keep your sex toys out of
it. From episode 1. But yeah,
and
I mean,
that whole music as well. Oh, I love
Duel of Fates.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
John.
It was Benicio del Toro. Yep, Benicio del Toro was supposed to be Maul.
And so he goes from that to the Code Breaker and Last Jedi. Wow.
Who was he? I forgot the guy's name. CJ, DJ,
the Code Breaker. Whatever his name was.
And that was the worst fake stutter I ever heard in my life.
Don't get me started.
I thought Kang's stutter was the worst one.
Oh
no! I think Benicio del Toro's best role was fucking. God damn it! I can't remember.
Four Fingers in Snatch.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, I loved it. That is one of my all-time favorite films. I fucking love that.
I think his best role was Excess Baggage with Alicia Silverstone.
So I also noticed another thing, Joker, too. There people are starting to do shorts and pretending they have Tourette's.
That's
what?
That is
yes. Like you can tell because the ticks are always the same. And they're like ticking differently and doing shit. I seen one other day. I'm like, that's fucking fake. Put that fucking downvote that shit. Because you get clicks. There's a streamer called Sweet Anita that she got banned off Twitch because she's like,
oh my god, I remember hearing this now.
Right, and she had to give them from a doctor saying she has Tourette's.
Because Tourette's is permission to say anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Maybe I should say I have Tourette's. Fuck shit, Capras. No, I'm just an asshole. So I'm okay with that. But yeah, so there's a lot of that shit going around. I was like, my buddy was showing me something. He's like, oh, this is so funny. I'm like, that's so fake. Like, you realize those people are having a seizure every time that happens.
Right.
I mean, it's very.
I remember reading this now.
If you're ever bored one night, go on Twitch.
Kids are actually adopting this. But because like some people do have a Tourette syndrome and they're doing these things, other people are adopting that behavior, and then it's becoming learned behavior for their body. So it's like they're intentionally, you can't give yourself Tourette's, but that's what they're doing. So their pronunciation
of the brain.
Yeah. God,
maybe that's what's wrong with the Marvels. They've shoved so much woke shit down their throat they can't do anything else. I mean, this is a complete failure on Marvel's part.
Oh, I'll tell you what.
Absolutely.
I don't think it was the wokest thing I've ever seen.
It wasn't.
Out of Marvel. It's just not a good movie.
Correct.
No.
It's disjointed. The characters are all bad, and it makes no sense.
As I said,
we've seen worse make more.
Yeah.
Right.
People are tired.
And as I said, what was it? As I pointed out earlier, that even critical drinker said that this was surprisingly devoid of the message. It was probably because it was all cut out.
Yeah, I think they cut it out and tried to smooth it together as best as they could, trying to salvage something that could make some money. This should have gone to D+.
But unfortunately, they've got too many foreign contracts that they have to adhere to.
Yeah.
thus it has to be released.
It'd be interesting to see what the Marvel poster will look like in China.
That's called Captain Marvel 2 there.
Yeah, it's called Captain Marvel 2 in Asia.
And will it just have Brie Larson on the front?
Yeah, because there's two groups there they don't like.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Arab version of Spider-Man 2, released in Saudi Arabia and stuff, where it doesn't have any of the Ukraine flags or gay pride flags. The gay missions are gone.
They like one of the characters for work purposes. That's about it. As
now
Disney thanks camps.
Someone else brought this up. I believe it was someone on WDW Pro. Could this have been the reason Victoria Alonso got shafted? This film.
Her name's on it. At the end
It is.
Credits.
Yeah.
Right. It is on.
Victoria Alonso got shafted for several reasons, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, but could this have been the last straw? Because it was just so bad.
I think she got shafted because she was so outspoken with the message, and they were like, "We need to clean our shit up." Axe her. Plus, she already talked shit about Bob Chapek. Plus, she refused to remove stuff off videos. It's just a culmination of things. She was very outspoken.
So again, going with what Joker said, this was a much longer movie and got cut down. If she had a lot more influence when it was put together, because remember, this is our 5th release date now that it finally happened.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it was
been together a long time.
Super woke and super feminized.
Right. So she got let go. What, in May or something?
So
shortly after Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would have been like the springtime. So then they would have spent that time trying to correct everything here.
Okay.
When was this supposed to have come out?
God,
this was originally supposed to be in the Ant-Man slot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ant-Man, her and Ant-Man swapped, and that's what kind of
original Ant-Man, the first
one.
No, the
Quantumania. So it's still supposed to come out this year?
Yes.
I thought it was put back. I thought it was coming out like back in 22 or something.
No, it was supposed to come out when Ant-Man came out. And then it kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. So Ant-Man kind of got the shaft because they put most of the post-production towards getting Wakanda done.
Okay.
And then they had Ant-Man so shortly that wasn't done.
Because Ant-Man, Ant-Man, I believe, had either a late June or an early July original release date.
The original release dates.
Okay.
July 8th, 2022, which I think probably COVID nixed that. And then November 11th, 2022. Then February 17, 2023, which was when Quantumania came out.
Correct.
And July this year, which means if they asked Victoria Alonso in relation to some stuff here, they're like, oh crap, we got to fix this. We got to spend some time trying to piece this back together, which is why they pushed it to November instead of releasing it during the summer. Because why do you release this movie in November?
Yeah, there's no reason.
But yeah, also, so if Ant-Man had been pushed back and the Marvels dropped, the Marvels would have made what Ant-Man made.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I think it still would have been lower because Paul Rudd has the draw.
People like Paul Rudd.
Yeah, I like Paul Rudd. I think he's a cool guy.
He's not.
And he's
He's
supposed to
not
be really nice in real life too.
He is, but I wouldn't call him a draw.
No,
really.
I'm interested.
He's like a fun character. If it was a comedy coming out, I'd be interested to see it.
Yeah.
Okay, Paul.
But I don't think he's ever fully.
Paul Rudd is best known for rom-coms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clueless.
Mm-hmm.
Marrying Phoebe and Friends.
Yeah.
Wanderlust.
But so Ant-Man would probably be getting this box office because I think it was just a culmination of time. Yeah, they're not changing. They're not bringing good movies. They're not doing this. It's just message. And now we're at that situation where you're putting out a movie that's not abysmal, but it is getting abysmal box offices because people just don't want to go watch it.
It's just the brand damage.
Yeah, it's complete. It's not superhero burnout
character either.
It's just bad storytelling, and plus with, and I'll say this for Marvel and Star Wars, the worst thing that could have ever happened is Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Think about it. This film that's come out, 2 characters are behind Disney paywall.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's also called the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
and
not TV universe.
So you get like River said, you've got 2 main characters that unless you watched a Disney Plus show, you have no idea who that they are. Which they actually spent like the first 10. Which they actually spent like the first 10.
Mm-hmm.
They actually spent the first 10 minutes of the film getting you caught up on who Ms. Marvel is. Then you introduce in a cameo for something going forward with another character that if you never watched a Disney Plus a show, you have no idea who they are.
Yeah, and then you have Monica Rambeau completely explain Ms. Marvel's powers.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
That really,
and then she breaks down how she got her powers and what she can do.
The mistake,
I think, hex wall and da.
The mistake I think both Disney's doing with both Star Wars and Marvel is trying to make the TV and the movies completely interconnected. That is a total mistake. Star Wars has always been a cinematic experience. You want to see that Star Destroyer come over your head on a giant screen.
Right.
I mean, you want to hear John Williams music. You want to Star Wars is made to be seen on the big screen. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have Star Wars stories on TV, but you can't be the focus of it. You could put a Boba Fett out there because no one really cares that much about a Boba Fett movie, but you still have the main trilogy, right? You have a trilogy with Jedi and all the stuff that we love in the Star Wars universe. Same thing with Marvel. You can have smaller characters, just like they did with Netflix. Daredevil's great on TV show. Perfect. Perfectly adapted. First season and second season were awesome.
Jessica Jones, season 1.
First half of Luke Cage? First half of Luke Cage was awesome.
Oh, I love Luke Cage. Luke Cage was cool.
So the Marvels sucked, but they didn't suck as bad as Thor.
Box office says, right. So now going back to Star Wars, and I want to toss this out because I heard this, and I'm like, oh, and it was the interview that Theory had with Mahler.
Oh, that was a good interview.
That was a great interview.
That was great conversation.
So, what would be easier? Would it be easier for someone like a Tony Gilroy to bring in actual Star Wars into his show? Or would it be easier for Dave Filoni to write characters that don't suck?
The problem with Dave Filoni is he borrows from everybody else too much, which I'm fine. I mean, if you want to tell a story about a whole character, I'm fine with that.
So my thing is this, and made me think because, okay, I did not like Andor. I thought it was dull. But Andor, if you take every Imperial reference out of that show, the show still works on its own because it's just a generic espionage. It's a generic espionage prison break show set in a sci-fi the world. That's fine. But if you want to make it Star Wars, you need to bring in some of these elements. You like you need to bring in the Force or some Force users. I mean, even in Rogue One, yes, you had Vader at the end, but you still had Donnie Yen's
sure.
who that was his faith was the Force. So you still have that element in there, and that's a I'd call that a decent Star Wars story.
Then,
I mean,
then I think
it has its moments, but
I think then in the difference between Gilroy and Filoni in that choice, I think then we can look to Ahsoka, which had those elements, which was not successful despite those elements being there. And these were characters that Dave Filoni created, which a lot of people still liked in Rebels. He destroyed his own characters. I didn't like any of the characters. I was perfect. I enjoyed Rebels for what it is. Yeah, there's a lot of extra stuff in it, but I thought the characters were interesting and I thought they were well developed in those storylines. And then we get characters that are now being made, which maybe despite the passage, it's 10 years past we saw them at the end of Rebels, but the personalities have so changed, they're not recognizable as the same characters.
No, it's like he wrote them with PTSD.
So I would go with Gilroy. I think it's much easier for someone to find the elements to put them in there.
Right.
And
this is where
Filoni's destroying.
And this is the thing that Mahler got. This is the thing that Mahler got out of Star Wars The Theory. Because as we have said, he's been shilling for Dave. Because right now Theory in his mindset was, that's all we have left. And Mahler was like, would it be easier to find a creative who understands storytelling to bring elements of Star Wars in, as opposed to someone who's been, grown up in Star Wars who just can't tell a quality story anymore.
Yeah. It's also sad to me to hear Theory basically just go. I've not really seen a full conversation with him where I thought it was really just like he seemed very honest about what he thought about Star Wars. But I think that the bad part is like I love Star Wars so much that I have to take what I'm going to get, and this actually goes back to something that happened to me when I was seeing Wrath of Khan Wednesday night. So I'm standing in line. And there's some people behind me, and they're talking about Star Trek, which one they love the most. And someone started talking about Strange New Worlds and how great it is. And then the other person started talking about Discovery. And, I have a gut reaction. I just go, Jesus God. And she goes, oh, mind you, this woman's like 70 years old. And she goes, well, you don't like Discovery? I go, frankly, I think it's crap. She goes, well, that's your opinion. I guess you just don't know what good Star Trek is. I'm like, no, you just like the fact that it says Star Trek on it. I mean, I could take a box, put crap in it, label Star Trek on it. Doesn't mean it's good. And that's what we're getting with Star Wars.
And that was my. So when I saw the Marvels, my theater was about a quarter full. And right at the end, folks were clapping and cheering, and I'm just like, you're really clapping about this?
Seals.
Ooh. Right, and then at the mid edit scene where you hear Kelsey Grammer's voice, but it's not Kelsey Grammer's Beast.
No, it's digital. It's all digital Beast.
And and the people are freaking out, and then they see the Maria's costume and here's me. Oh, and I said, oh, binary. And someone said, and someone again, just like with Kate, they said, who? And I'm like, you guys, again, you have to, these are normies, and we have to just accept them, but they will go to anything with a label. slapped on.
That's.
I think the
and
people
that's-
in my cinema didn't know who Beast was.
Really? Wow.
Wouldn't shock me. Wouldn't shock me. So I've run into that. So I have a Disney girl at work, shaved sides of her head. We've talked about this girl, and we were talking. I got to her with Ahsoka, and I'm like, yeah, but what about this? What about that? Oh, Dempsey's in here.
What's up, Dempsey?
What's up, Dempsey? And she's like, oh, yeah, I didn't even pay attention to that. I'm like, so I'm a nerd. I love Star Wars. Obvious, I love Star Wars. If you've ever seen me in person, you see my tattoos and stuff. I still look at it like it's a film, or I can't pick my leg up that high.
Oh,
yeah.
Ew.
But I still look at it as a film or as a television show. I look at plot. I look at pacing. I look at all this stuff. Now, Rivers corrected me on my reaction for Ghostbusters, and he brought up a valid point, and I got caught in the member berries.
Oh, yeah.
And it's okay to get caught in the member berries. But
If
you
it's done
just
well.
have to remember.
If it's done well. I would say, like, I was talking about this. I was talking about member berries on another show about a month ago, and someone said, well, that's service to the fans. And I said, it is, but it can be overused, and that's what the jangling keys is. You're just overusing it. Where as it's done well, and I pointed out Endgame, when all of a sudden Thor's getting Stormbreaker shoved into his chest, and Mjolnir pops up out of nowhere, and it comes into Cap's hand, and I'm like, what did Thor say? And he said, I knew it. And I'm like, that's a callback all the way to Ultron.
Yeah, when he slides it across the table, and the only reason he couldn't pick it up is because he knew about Bucky killing Tony Stark's dad.
No, he actually could have lifted it.
Yeah, I think he could have,
but he
chose not to.
But he didn't want to show up Thor. That's why.
I'm going to give you another example of good member berry use. Picard season 3.
I never saw it.
Oh, I was damn near brought to tears at a certain point.
I'm not a star.
I'm hovering over the remove button right now.
I know. But I'm not gonna I know. But after this was like we Star Trek fans have had some bad stuff since 2005. 2005 was it for Star Trek, right? And everything has happened since then. So I recognize that this was a little oasis in the desert we've been living in for the last 15 years of Star Trek. Yeah. And I'm going to drink the hell out of this water as long as I can till the oasis is gone. I've enjoyed it. The oasis is gone. I got a great ending for the Star Trek that I loved. Okay. Now, that was good member berries.
Going back to Discovery, bitch.
Like going back to what Wookie said about like the jangling keys, and that's exactly what the Ghostbusters 2 trailer is when you see Ecto. You hear and see Ecto, and it did it to me as well. I love the sound of that. It's its character in its own right, but that new Ghostbusters just looks like Stranger Things.
There is a Ghostbusters cosplay group out here in my town, and they have a Ecto 1, and it makes the proper sound and everything, and it's amazing.
See, my thing about Afterlife and my thing with the trailer was not only do you get the air, but you get that big V8 growl. Like I'm a car guy, so I'm like,
it gave you two things, didn't it? It gave you Ecto, and it gave the proton pack being fired.
It's a boner.
So you get the two member berry sounds there. But it's just Stranger Things with kids again. I don't want to watch a Ghostbusters.
Yes, exactly.
I want to watch Ghostbusters.
That's exactly
with
what
adults.
it is.
I want to watch Ghostbusters with like the best comedians of our time at the moment doing it.
Yes, and I did say that if Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase were in anything, you watched it. Harold Ramis wrote some of the greatest comedies ever written. Christmas Vacation, fucking Animal House. He wrote all that fucking crazy shit. National Lampoon is Harold Ramis.
Yeah, but didn't we have some of the greatest comedians of our current time in Ghostbusters 2016?
No, we didn't.
No. which
I'll tell you otherwise.
Which was that? which what was it? I heard something, and it had to do with the writer's strike. That the way the scripting now that they're going to push to doing less doing less ad lib stuff.
Oh,
Again, this is to what I heard. I may have I may have heard it wrong, but then they were talking about Deadpool 3, and they said
oh.
if you do not let Ryan Reynolds be Ryan Reynolds, that movie is
You
going
lose
to
it.
tank.
Yeah. There's so many outtakes of them just trying lines in Deadpool 1 and 2 that are funny, but they're not the line.
Right.
You got it's like just running a joke over and over again, see what clicks right.
So let me ask you, Joker.
Well,
if
let me say this with one thing, because I think Ryan Reynolds, as far as his presence on screen is kind of almost at a point where Robin Williams was. Whereas you don't tell him to what to say. You kind of give him the scene premise and let him go.
Yeah. If Deadpool 3 is bad, how will that affect Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds?
Won't affect Hugh Jackman at all.
No, I think
he's done.
I think this is going to. I will probably know pretty close once we get the rating on this. If the rating is PG-13, this Deadpool 3 is fucked.
Yeah.
With a capital F. It needs to be a hard R. It has to be.
Yep.
It has to be almost NC-17.
Getting there.
Like borderline, like director's cut needs to be NC-17.
So, and this is why I say that this is where I don't see Marvel Studios doing this by themselves. It's going to be done kind of like what Disney used to have back in the day, where they had Touchstone, they had Hollywood Pictures. So Marvel Studios will make this film, but it'll be distributed through Searchlight or 20th Century.
I don't think they'll be able to keep their hands off putting the fucking Disney logo off of, though. See what we did? We brought you a great Deadpool movie.
This is also another problem with Marvel is for phases 1, 2, and 3, you had a Marvel Studios production. Everything post Endgame has been what? A Kevin Feige production.
Yeah. Yeah. And Kevin Feige, after Avengers Secret Wars, is going to Lucasfilm.
No, he's not.
Allegedly.
No, he's not.
What's going to be left in 2028? This is 4 or 5 years from now.
There's going to be nothing left to either brand. If they don't pull it out, if Marvel has got to the point they're going to have to put out 1 to 2 great movies that no one watches. Star Wars is the same way. They're going to have to put out 1 to 2 shows, and it's a damn shame I'm saying shows because they can't make a fucking movie. You don't have enough draw.
Yeah.
They're going to have to put out some of the best shit they've ever made that no one watches.
This is all going to be dependent on, which is why I'm very hesitant in saying anything, because I don't know what the new board is going to look like. That is a huge thing.
How much effect do they have? Because they're in the Variety article, they're talking about that it's just fucking rampant at Marvel that people just do what the fuck they want to do. There's no checks and balances.
And this is going to be part of it. This is again, as what was it? As the last time we were on here talking about Ahsoka, and I asked, what would you do if you were the head of Lucasfilm? I would do the same thing if I was the head of Marvel. You gut the entire thing.
Yeah,
clean house
to the ground,
burn it to the ground, and start again. And you get a creative, but you also have to have a business person as a co-head. So this is what Zaslav is doing over with DC and everything else. He is getting everything streamlined. Everyone talks the same language. Everyone is doing the same thing, and it's because he's gonna sell them off.
Well, and so the problem is, I mean, you could do that and make it profitable too.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
comics are fucking just trash.
Well,
like modern
yes,
comics are trash.
Right, and they're getting their ass kicked by manga.
Yeah, you're getting an ass kicked by manga. Eric July is not going to be far from knocking on their door.
Because the Japanese just don't care.
Yeah. Now we got the new Zelda movie coming out, which is going to be live action. We'll see how that works out. I mean, the CEO of Nintendo went in there and cleaned house when they did Mario because it was a woke piece of shit.
Right.
Princess Peach saving the day. So we'll see what happens. If Link comes out and it's fucking trash, you're not going to see another Nintendo movie for a long time.
Okay. I think that they will do some. I think they might do some tests because of how the fans reacted and how the studio reacted to Sonic. The fans first saw Sonic and they were like, no.
Mm-hmm.
So now the studio went back and was like, okay, we okay. Do we hear you? Let's change this. And Sonic is a decent.
Yeah, Sonic is a unicorn though. Sonic is a unicorn. The director and the writer and all those people decided to make those changes on their own. Now with Mario, the head of Nintendo walked in and said,
no,
I will pull this whole film unless you fix this.
That's kind of like the creator of the One Piece.
Yeah. Imagine if we still had somebody at Marvel that had the balls to say, go fuck yourself, but he passed away today 5 years ago.
Right. And then they had the other real creative, and he's now working across the street as the CEO of DC.
Yeah.
I'd say Zelda's got a big enough draw to hit $1 billion if they do it right.
And he's exactly right. If Zelda sucks, it's going to hurt Nintendo. And that is their whole brand is right on it. If they put out a woke fucking movie, they're going to lose ownership. They are bigger than PlayStation and Xbox.
Do you think though Nintendo, a Japanese company, would put out a woke piece of shit?
I'm just hoping they keep their hands
I don't think
on
they would. I think they would put their foot down on it because they're not.
Well, and that's what they did with Mario. Mario was woke.
Yeah, Mario hit $1 billion.
And it's also what they've done at Tokyo Disneyland, because Disney tried to push them to get rid of Splash the Mountain, and the Oriental Land company basically told Disney F off.
Yeah. All right, guys.
I do see people on Twitter saying they want a trans Zelda, but I don't think Nintendo.
And you know what? That shit doesn't carry. Well, right now our politicians are lobbying in Japan for all that shit, and Japan's already in a what's the word? Fucking. They're dying off. They're not having enough sex.
Yeah, their ratio is like 2 to 1 or something. Isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. So
I forgot what it is. Some sort of threshold of.
They need to learn. The problem is Japanese people don't unplug, and Americans are starting to get that way too. And
what you're saying?
The only group in the world that's not like that are Muslims. So
what you're saying is we all need to go to Tokyo and just go to town, then, right?
There is a penis festival. And that is one of my goals, to go to the penis festival.
Forgot about that.
The problem with that, though, you might go there and it end up being a fucking sausage party, and it would just be you.
No, it's about praising the penis, and it's all Japanese girls. I've seen the videos.
the parades are unbelievable.
Yeah, the parades are pretty unbelievable.
Jesus God.
I think we talked about that on Static Show, didn't we?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty insane. So, all right, we're gonna go around the horn. We're at 2 hours.
Nice.
We're gonna let you lead, sir.
Thank you very much.
You are the guest of honor. Anytime we have you on here, it is definitely an honor. And
Yeah,
probably be the only reason why I stream on Sundays, because that's your day off. So
No, it's always great with you guys. It's always a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm going to try and get my Marvels video out in the next couple of days, and then I'll probably do something else on Marvel to do with the characters. And then, God, what else? What else we got coming up? I don't think there's any decent.
You got Godzilla. You got Monarch, King of Monsters coming out. Then you have Godzilla -1.
Yeah, I might go. I'll probably go and watch -1.
I will be in the theaters that Saturday watching that. I go ahead, do your thing, and I'll go back. But yeah,
but no, that's it. Yeah, there'll be the next ones coming up, and it's just whatever else decides to pop out on TV that I can watch. Oh, Reacher's coming out soon.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that trailer looks
so
good.
That is one thing I'm genuinely looking forward to watching. So yeah, that'll be me in the upcoming. So yeah, have fun, everybody.
Yeah, Napoleon's not really in the nerd world, though. Neither was Oppenheimer. I covered that, though.
Yeah.
Brad, what are you working on, sir?
Well, I do have to actually finish my Marvels review. Try to get that out either tonight or tomorrow. After that, I don't know. I got to come up with some new stuff to talk about. Kicking around an idea to probably bring in some people who are not normal YouTubers, maybe some old friends of mine who watch some geeky stuff and just watch something and talk about it for an hour or so. So we'll see what I come up with. But otherwise, I'll be around finding new stuff to do. And doing law stuff because responsibilities now.
Okay. Now that you're a partner.
Yeah.
Big man.
Joker, what do you got going on, sir?
I've got to record my last week's news now. My Marvels review will come out on Wednesday. Monday and Friday, you can catch me on Legion Talk, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Monday will be Game of Thrones, Season 6, Episodes 2 and 3. Friday is Friday Night's Royal Rumble. Thursday, you can catch me with Roman of the Empire. We will be talking about planes, trains, and automobiles.
Oh, timely. It's almost Thanksgiving. Good job.
Right.
I'm not a big fan of that movie.
Oh, it's good.
I'm not either. I got roped in because Roman promised my friend Vex will be on the panel, and we torture Roman the entire time. So it's always a fun.
All right, so I'm gonna finish my Marvels video, which is scripts almost written. I was in the middle of a rewatch before we started the stream. I got some stuff coming down the pipe. I am going to cover Monarch: Legacy of the Monsters. That comes out on Apple TV. Comes out next week, 2 episodes, and then it will carry until like the second week of January.
How much is that a month?
Free.
$9.99.
$9.99. Okay. Oh, wait.
Where's the rum?
Okay.
So yeah, I'm going to try to cover that for that entire thing as long as it's not too horrible, and then I'm going to cover Godzilla -1, or is it 0? I can't remember. Yeah, I'm going to cover that movie. So I'm going to have my thing full. Plus, we're going to have random news throughout the week. So we don't do the Sunday stream anymore. I'm going to try to cover the random news throughout the week when it happens. Put a little 5-minute, 7-minute video out a couple times a week. So other than that, Only Nerds will be live again when we have something to talk about. If there's enough calamity behind Godzilla, we will do Godzilla stream. So it's all theme oriented. Today was the Marvels. I'm not tying myself to a weekly schedule because I can produce way more videos throughout the week, not doing that, and produce way more watch hours. But other than that, everybody else, have a good one.
Chewie, is that you?